Hello and welcome back to this course of Java. Today we are going to start our new section in which we learn about the loops. Loops in Java or any other programming language is used for the execution of a set of instructions or functions repeatedly until some condition is true. Means if we want to repeat a statement for a number of times, then we use loops. Now there are three types of loops in Java. One is do while, for, and the fourth one is enhanced for loop, which is just like the for loop, and we will discuss all these loops in our different videos. For this video, I am only going to focus on the while loop. A while loop is a statement that allows code to be executed repeatedly based on a given condition. A while loop is written by using while keyword. Now look at its syntax. First of all, we have to write the while keyword, and then in the parentheses we have to give our condition, and after that we have to start the body of the while loop with two curly braces, and within two curly braces we have to write the statements for this while loop. If that condition is true, then the statement is going to execute, and the statement will execute until that condition is true. If the condition becomes false, then it moves out of the while block. Now look at this example. I have created a one integer variable a and I initialize it with 1. Now while a is less than equal to 10, print this block. At first the value of a is 1. So 1 is less than equal to 10, so it comes inside the body of the while loop and print Java is everywhere. Then it increment 1 in a and now a becomes 2. Now it come back to the condition and check 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, 2 is less than equal to 10. So it again come in the body of the while loop and print Java is everywhere on the screen. Now again it increment a with 1 and now the value of a becomes 3. It come back to the condition and check 3 is less than equal to 10. Yes, 3 is less than equal to 10, so it come again inside the body of the while loop and print Java is everywhere. And this process will continue. And when the value of a becomes 11, now 11 is not less than equal to 10, so the condition is false, so it breaks the loop and come outside from the body of the loop. So problem, write a program that prints all even number in a given range. So let's create this program on our NetBeans IDE. So here in NetBeans I am going to print first statement that system dot out dot println enter a number. Now first of all I import the scanner class. In my file I type here java.util.scanner and create a object of scanner class here, scanner s1 equals to new scanner and system.in. Now int num equals to s1 dot next int. Now I got the number till I have to print the even numbers. So here I create another variable int I equals to 1, and while I is less than equals to num, execute these statements. So inside the body of the while loop I type here if I modulus 2 equals to 0, then print that number. System.out.println I, and at the end I increment 1 in I, and now if I run this program you will see a message enter a number. I type here 10. You see 2, 4, 8 and 10 printed on this screen. So if you want to print these numbers in a line, so you can change the method to print. Now if I run this program, I type here 10 and you see all the numbers are in line. You see there is no space in them, so I add a space plus and put a little space in them. And now if I run this program and type here 10, you will see 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10 in a single line. So in this way you can print all the even numbers in a given range. So what is the logic behind it? So first of all I have typed a statement that enter a number, then I have created a object of scanner class to take input from the user. I stored that number in the num integer variable, and I have created a variable int I to start my loop from 1. So while I is less than equal to num. For an example, if user enter 10, num is equal to 10. Now at first I is equal to 1 and 1 is less than equal to 10. So the control come inside the loop and check if I modulus 2 equals to 0 and 1 modulus 2 is not equal to 0, so it don't print 1 on the screen. It increment I with 1 and go back to the condition. Now 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, 2 is less than equal to 10. It come inside the body of the while loop and divide 2 by 2, and now remainder is 0, so 0 equals to 0. It print 2 on the screen. Now the value of the I is again incremented by 1. Now the value of I is 3. Now 3 is less than equal to 10. It come inside the body of the while loop and divide 3 by 2. Now this time remainder is 1, so 1 is not equal to 0, so it is not going to print 3 on the screen. Again it increment I with 1, and now the value of I is 4, and 4 is less than equal to 10. Now 4 modulus 2 and we get the remainder 0. Now 0 is equal to 0, so it prints 4 on the screen. In this way all the numbers within a given range is printed on the screen. I hope you understand the logic of the while loop, that how it works and how we can create our programs using the while loop. We can repeat a statement for a number of times using a loop. Now remember 3 steps in a while loop. First of all, you have to create a variable that initialize the loop. So loop start from 1, and then you have to give the condition. And after condition in the body of the while loop, you have to increment or decrement the variable to start the loop or to change the value in the condition. So in this way the while loop works. I hope you understand. That's it for this video. I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the do while loop. Do while loop is similar to the while loop. The only difference is that it checks for the condition after executing the statement. A do while loop is written by using the do and while keyword. This means that this loop is going to execute at least one time, and then it checks the condition whether it is true or false. Now look at its syntax. First of all, we have to type the do keyword. Do this block of statements while this condition is true. Now this loop is going to execute at least one time. First it execute all the statements within this block and then check the condition. If that condition is true, then it is again going to execute all these statements. But if the condition is false, then it does not come back to the body. It breaks the loop and go outside of this loop. So in this way do while loop works. Now look at this example. I have created an integer variable a and I initialize it with 1. Then I have started the do while loop. Do these statements while the condition is true. And within the body of the loop I type system.out.println Java is everywhere. So it prints Java is everywhere on the screen and then increment in a with 1. Now the value of a is 2. So after that it comes to the while and check 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, 2 is less than equal to 10. So it is going to execute all these statements again. Now when this statement executed, the value of a becomes 3. Now 3 is also less than equal to 10. So it is going to again execute this block of code. So in this way do while loop works. Now problem, write a program to create a simple login system. We know that in login system we have to run our code at least one time. So let's create this simple program on our NetBeans. So here first of all I am going to create a variable int I equals to 1 to start my loop and do all these statements while I is less than equals to 3. I want to give 3 attempts to user to enter correct username and password. And if the username and password is correct, then it is going to break the loop. So within the body of the for loop, I type here system dot out dot println enter username and scanner s1 equals to new scanner and system.in and string username equals to s1.next s1 dot next, and I'm going to copy this code and paste it once again for the password. I type here enter password and change it to s2 and also change it with password. Now I have taken the input from the username and password. So here I am going to validate my username and password. So I type here if username dot contains Java and password dot contains programming system dot out dot println you have been logged in, and break this loop using the break statement. And if username and password does not match, then print system dot out dot println please enter correct user password. So now if I run this program, you will see a message enter username. I type here Java and I type password programming, and you see a message you have been logged in. Means the username and the password is matched, and it comes inside the body of the if and print you have been logged in and break this loop and come out of this loop. Now if I again run this program and type here Java and type the wrong password like Java, then please enter correct username and password, and it show enter username. I again type here Java and Java, it again prints please enter correct username and password. So I again type here Java and Java, please enter correct username and password. I again type here Java and Java, it prints please enter correct username and password. Why this is happening? Because we does not have increment this I with 1. If we not increment this I with 1, then this loop is going to run for infinite times if we enter wrong username and password. So I increment this variable with 1, I plus plus. So now if I run this program and enter wrong username and password Java and Java, please enter correct username and password. I again type here Java and Java, again Java and Java, and you see this program runs 3 times, and I have typed the wrong username and password for 3 times, and it prints message please enter correct username and password and exit this program. So in this way you can use the do while loop. Now keep in your mind that do while loop executes its block at least 1 time. So I hope you understand the logic of the do while loop and easily understand how this program works. So that's it for this video. I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. Today we are going to discuss about the for loop in this video. For loop provides more comfortable way to write loop structure. In for statement, we write initialization, condition and increment decrement in one line. That is more cleaner and easy to use. A for loop is written by using the for keyword. First of all, look at its syntax. You can see I have just typed the for keyword and I have used the parentheses. Within parentheses, I type 3 things. The first is initialization, means from where this loop starts. And then I have put the semicolon and type the condition. And after that, I have typed the increment or decrement. That totally depends upon the logic of the program, that whether we want to increment or decrement the variable. And after that, there is body of the for loop that is going to execute if that condition is true. Until the condition is true, this block is going to execute. If the condition becomes false, then it breaks out from this loop. So in this way, for loop works. Now let's look how this loop exactly works for us. First of all, it starts from the initialization. For example, I type here int I is equal to 1. Now the loop starts from 1 and it checks the condition. For example, the condition is I is less than 10. Now 1 is less than 10, the condition is true. Now it does not increment or decrement. After checking the condition, it directly moves inside the body of the for loop. Now execute all these statements. Now after executing, it goes to the increment or decrement part. It increment or decrement the variable. For example, I want to increment, so the value of I is incremented by 1. Now the value of the I is 2. Now it does not go back to the initialization. Rather than going to initialization, it go to the condition and check the condition. If the condition is true, then it executes all the statement with the in the for loop. After executing all these statements, it again go back to the increment and decrement portion and increment or decrement the variable. After that, it again goes to the condition and check the condition. If the condition is true, then execute all these statements. If the condition is false, then it is going to break the loop and go outside this. So in this way, for loops work. Now look at this example. I have started a for loop, and in initialization, I type int I is equal to 1. This loop starts from 1 and I put the semicolon, and after that I have given the condition. I is less than equals to 10. Means this loop is going to execute 10 times. After the semicolon, I have give the increment I plus plus, and after that I have started the body of the for loop, in which I am just want to print the Java is everywhere. At first it start with the initialization. Now at this portion, I is equal to 1 and it check the condition. Yes, 1 is less than equal to 10. It come inside the body of the loop and execute this statement. After that, it go to the increment and increment I by 1, and again it go to the condition and check the condition. Now 2 is less than equal to 10. It is again going to print Java is everywhere on this screen. In this way, it prints 10 times Java on this screen. At last, I becomes 11 and 11 is not less than equal to 10, and this loop is going to break and we get outside from this loop. Write a program to print a diamond of asterisks on the screen. Now before solving this problem, I want to introduce one more thing about the nested loops. When a loop is written within a loop is called nested loop. Look at its syntax. You can see I have typed the for loop, and within the body of the for loop, I have typed another for loop. This is what we call the nested loops. You can write a while loop within a for loop and for loop within a while loop. You can also write for loop within a do while loop. You can do it in any way. So this concept is called nested loops. Now look at this example. Now the outer loop is going to execute 5 times, we know that. When the value of I is 1, it check yes 1 is less than equal to 5. It come inside the body of the loop. Now it starts the loop from j equals to 1. Now 1 is less than equal to 5 and it's print I on the screen, mean it prints 1 on the screen. Now it go back to the j++ and increment the value of j by 1. Now 2 is less than equal to 5. Yes, it prints again I on the screen. It means it print 1 1 2 times on the screen. Now the value of j is incremented by 1 and now it becomes 3. Now 3 is also less than equal to 5, so it prints 1 more time on the screen, so we get 1 3 times. So the inner loop print 5 ones on the screen. And after that the condition becomes false because 6 is not less than equal to 5, so it comes outside the outer loop and now increment I with 1. And now 2 is less than equal to 5, it comes again inside the loop and now it is going to print 2 5 times. Again it go back to the outer loop and increment I with 1. Now the value of I become 3. Now it comes inside the body of the outer for loop and prints 3 5 times on the screen. So in this way the for loops work, when we write a for loop within a for loop. So now let's print our diamond of static on our screen using nested loops and for loops. So here first of all I am going to print a message system.out.println enter rows and create a object of scanner class s1 equals to new scanner and system dot in and int rows equals to s1 dot next int. Now I have taken the number of rows from the user. Now I am going to create another variable int space equals to rows minus 1. Now keep in your mind that we want to print our diamond of static on the screen. The first at very first we only have to print one static with the space. For example, user enter 5. So it is going to print 5 rows of statics. And at the top we have to only print one static. So we give 4 spaces. And at the second line we give 3 spaces. At the third line we give 2 spaces. At the fourth line we give 1 space. And in the fifth we give no space. At very first we have to give 4 spaces if user enter 5. So I take 2 more variables for my loops. I type here int j and I to run my 2 loops. I start a loop here for j equals to 1 and j is less than equal to rows and j plus plus. And in this for loop I have to start another for loop. The inner for loop is going to print the spaces on the screen. Now if the user enter 5 in the rows, and we know that at the first row we have to print the 1 static, and at the second row I have to print the 3 statics, and the third row I have to print the 5 statics. Now at very first the first static must be printed at the middle, so we have to put the spaces before that. Now if the user enter 5, so I have to print 4 spaces, and at the 5 position I have to print the static. So 5 minus 1 equals to 4. So if row is equal to 5, then 5 minus 1 is equal to 4 in the space. So it is going to print the 4 spaces first, and then it is going to print 1 static. So let's create an inner for loop inside. For I equals to 1, I less than equals to space and I plus plus. And I have to print the spaces, system.out.print space. Okay, and outside this for loop I have also to decrement the space by 1. So I type here space minus minus. So here I am going to start another for loop to print statics on the screen. So I type here for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 2 multiplied by j minus 1 and I plus plus. Now you may thought that why I have used this condition here. Now understand that at the first row we have to print the 1 static, at the second row we have to print the 3 statics, at the third row we have to print the 5 statics. So at first the value of j is 1. So 2 multiplied by 1 is 2 and 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. So it prints 1 static on this screen. At the next the value of j is 2. Now 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4 and 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. So it prints 3 statics on this screen. In this way this loop works, and that's why I have used this condition here. Now if I type here system.out.print the static, and outside this for loop I type another statement system.out.println. Now I have used this statement because the first iteration is going to print first 1 static on the screen, and after that I have to go to the new line. So I type here system.out.println to go to the new line. Now if I run this program now and enter 5 here, you see pyramid on the screen. At the first we have put 4 spaces and 1 static. At the second row we have printed 3 statics. At the third row we have printed 5 statics, and this continues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 rows. So to print our diamond, we have to just print our opposite parameter to this. So let's do it. So I initialize my space with 1 because at first I have to print only 1 space. So I start a for loop here, int j equals to 1 and j is less than equals to rows minus 1 and j plus plus. Now I start another for loop inside this for loop to print spaces before and static. For I equals to 1, I less than equals to space, I plus plus and system.out.print space and space plus plus. At very first this space is equal to 1, so it prints one space on this screen. Now we want to print the static on the screen, so I type here for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 2 multiply by rows minus j minus 1 I plus plus. Now this condition will be a little typical for you, but you have to learn that. When we previously run this program, we see a pyramid on this screen. Now after that we have to invert that pyramid and we want to print our diamond. So just below that we have to print the 7 statics if user enter 5 in the rows. Let's suppose user enter 5. Now here 5 minus j. At first j is equal to 1, so 5 minus 1 is equal to 4, and 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 8, and 8 minus 1 is equal to 7, and we print 7 statics on the screen, and that is what we want. And after that in next row the value of j is incremented by 1, and then here 5 minus 2 is equal to 3, and 3 multiplied by 2 is equal to 6, and 6 minus 1 is equal to 5, so we print 5 statics on the screen. And for the next row the value of j is equal to 3, so 5 minus 3 is equal to 2, so 2 into 2 is equal to 4, and 4 minus 1 is equal to 3, so we print 3 statics on the screen. So let's print then system.out.print static, and outside this for loop I'm going to type another statement, system.out.println, to print a new line after each iteration. So now if I run this program and enter here 5, you see a nice diamond on this screen. So in this way for loops and nested for loops work. Now let's run this program once again and type here 10, and now you see a big diamond on this screen. Run it once again and type here 20, and you see a little larger diamond on this screen. So I hope you understand how loops work and how we can print a diamond on this screen. I will highly recommend you to do some programs on printing different shapes on your screen, because printing these type of patterns definitely build up your logics. So that's it for this video. If you feel any problem while understanding the loops and about this program, then you can definitely message me or ask me a question. I will definitely help you. So I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to discuss about the enhanced for loop. There is another version of for loop in Java. Enhanced for loop provides way to iterate through elements of collection on array. Now you may not familiar with collection on array, but we will cover these two topics soon in our course. It can be used only when there is a need to iterate through the elements in a sequential manner without knowing the index of the current element. I know this is little different from this topic, but you have to learn the enhanced for loop as this is the type of the loops. Now look at the example. I have declared a array here, string, language, and Java, Python, and C++ are elements in array. Array is nothing but a collection of elements of same data type. You can say that you can store many values in array of same data type. Like you can see Java, Python, and C++ are of string type, so you can store the elements of same data type in a array. We will definitely discuss about the array in our future videos. The main thing is for loop. Now you see that this for loop is little different from the previous for loop. I type the for, and within the parentheses I type string a : languages. At first it gets the first value from the array. The first element in array is Java, so it takes Java and store it in the a. And inside the for loop we just type system.out.println a, and it prints value of a on the screen. And this time the value of a is Java, so it prints Java on the screen. And next time it go to the next element, and this time it is Python, and it copies the Python to a. Now in a we have Python, and now Python is printed on the screen. In this way you can print and iterate all the elements in an array or a collection. So let's run a little program on our NetBeans. Now here I'm going to create an array here, string colors equals to red, green, blue, orange, white. Now we have these 5 elements in our array. Now I type for string a colon colors and just print system dot out dot print ln a. Now if I run this program, you see all the elements in the array on the screen. So this is what we call iterate through the array or collection. Now this is array. There are 5 elements of same data type in this array, and we iterate through this array and prints all the values on the screen. So this is what we call the enhanced for loop. This is just used for the iteration when we want to iterate through a loop. I hope you understand. You will get it more helpful when we learn about the arrays and collections. So that's it for this video. I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the functions or methods. So what is function? A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Now function is a separate piece of code that we write in our separate block, and whenever we need that block we just call that and all the lines in that block is executed. This is called the function. Now you can see the syntax of writing a function. First of all, you have to write the access modifier like public, private or protected etc. Now then you have to write the return type, which is void right now, and then you have to write the function name, and after writing the function name you have to write the 2 parentheses, and after these 2 parentheses you have to write your code within 2 curly braces. Whatever you write between these 2 curly braces is the part of that function. So this is the basic skeleton of the function. Now void means null, means this function is going to return nothing here, and we will definitely discuss in more detail about the functions when we will discuss about the example. Now how to call a function. To call a function, use the function name. For example, we have a function with the name myfunction that has some statements. Now if I want to call that function, then I just have to type the name of the function, then 2 round parentheses and then semicolon. In this way I can call that function whenever I want. So let's create a dummy program in our NetBeans so that you have better understanding of how function works. Now here in NetBeans I am going to create a function here. So I type here the public, for example, then I type the void, which is the return type of the function, then I type the name of the function. For example, I type here hello world. Okay, then I have to write a statement here which is the part of this body of the function, print ln, then I type here hello world. Done. I have created the function with the name hello world. Now if I want to call this function, now in my main function if I type here hello world like this, then I got an error here. You can see non-static method hello world cannot be referenced from a static constant. Now the main function is static here and this function is not static. So we cannot write our method inside a static method. I know that you don't know about the static right now, but soon we will discuss about the static. So right now I'm going to type here static, public static void hello world. You can see that error has gone. We cannot write a method which is non-static in our static method. So I have made this method static. And now if I run this program, you will see the hello world on the screen. So this is just the simple program that prints the hello world on the screen. Okay, now let's create another function here. And to remove this line and change the name of the function, I type here addition. Okay, just for an instance, and addition. Okay, now I am going to take input from the user in this method. I type here system.out.println enter a number, then scanner s1 equals to new scanner and system dot in. Okay, now int number 1 equals to s1 dot next int. Okay, I import the scanner class first like this. Okay, now I'm going to take the second number from the user, system dot out dot println, enter second number, then scanner s2 equals to new scanner and system dot in, then int number 2 equals to s1 dot next int. Okay, so this is s2 here. Okay, so now I have taken the two numbers from, as input from the user. Now I'm going to display this result on the screen. I type here system dot out dot println and addition is, and I type here uh, number 1 plus number 2. Okay, now when I run this code, you can see the message enter a number. So I type here 67, then I enter here 100. You can see 167 is printed on the screen. So in this way we can create a method. So whenever we want to add two numbers, we can simply call this function and we can add the two numbers. Now let's discuss about the return in the function. If you want to return a value, then you have to use the return statement. You can see the example, public void my function and int x and int y are the parameters, and we will discuss about the parameters in our next video. Then we have to return the value of x and y so that we can add that. So let's create a program that uses the return statement and see how it is worked. Now you can see that I have taken the two numbers as input from the user. Now if I remove this line, okay, now I am going to use the return statement here, return number 1, number 2. Okay, now what is the return statement going to do here? It is going to add the two numbers and going to return this value to the to the place from where it is called. So after adding two numbers, the value is thrown to the place where it is called. So you can see the error here, incompatible types unexpected return value. Okay, so this is word. In our previous example, we have used the word because we are not returning some value. Now I have to write here int because now I am going to return the integer type value. You can see number 1 and number 2 are both integer type values. Now I am going to return these values, so I have to change the return type to integer. If I return the string here, I change the return type to string. If I return the floating value, then I type here float. If I want to return nothing, then I type here void simply. Okay, so now when I run this program, you will see a message enter a number. I enter two numbers. You can see nothing on the screen because this time the method is not printing the value, it is just returning the value. So how we can access those values? I just type here system.out.println and I type here addition, then I just concatenate this method here like this. And now if I run this program and enter here two values, any values I want, then you can see the addition is 112. So in this way we can create a separate piece of code in our program that we call a function. And the return statement helps us to return the value and from where it is called. The function is called from here, so the values are returned to here. Now let's again call this function like this. Copy this line and paste it once again. I add here addition 1 and type here addition 2. Okay, so now if I run this program, you will see a message enter a number. I type here 167. You can see addition 167. That it asks again to enter a number because this time it is calling the second method here addition. Now if I enter here 100 and 100, you can see 200 on the screen. You can call the function as many times as you want, and each time the answer will be different if you enter different values. So I hope you understand that how methods work and how we can create our methods. In our next video, we are going to discuss about the parameters, and we also create an example to find the largest number between the three numbers using a function. So I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the functions and basically parameters in the function. So the function parameters. Parameters are specified after the function name inside the parentheses. You can add as many parameters as you want, just separate them with a comma. Parameters mean passing some information to the function. If we want to pass some information from one method to another method, then we use the parameters. So without wasting our time, let's discuss the parameters in our NetBeans with the help of the code. So here in NetBeans, I'm going to create a method that will find the greatest number among the three numbers. So let's start it. First of all, I'm going to take input from the user in my main method, and I pass those three numbers to the function which I create that evaluate that which number is the greatest number. So first of all, I type here system.out.println and enter first number, and I simply take input with the help of the scanner class. So I type s1 is equal to new scanner and system.in, and I import the scanner class in my program like this, and then int num1 equals to s1 dot next int, and the second number I type here system.out.println, enter second number, and scanner s2 equals to new scanner and system.in, and int num2 equals to s2 dot next int, and system dot out dot println, enter third number, scanner s3 equals to new scanner and system dot in, and int num3 equals to s3 dot next int. Okay, so I have taken the three numbers as input from the user, num1, num2 and num3. Now I have to pass these three numbers to my other function that evaluate that which is the greatest number among these three numbers, and I pass these numbers through the parameters. So before that, I create the method inside my class. So I type here public static, and it is going to return the integer type value. So I type here int, the name of the function. I type here greatest number, and in the parameter I type here int number1, int number2, and int number3. Okay, so in this body I have to type the code that will evaluate which is the greatest number among the three given numbers. So I type here if number 1 is greater than the number 2 and number 1 is greater than number 3, this means that the number 1 is the greatest number. So I return here return number 1, and again I remove the space from here. Okay, and else if number 2 is greater than number 1 and number 2 is greater than number 3, then return number 2, and Okay, so I remove the space from here like this. Okay, and at the end I type the else return number 3, because number 3 is the greatest. Okay, so we have a method with the name the greatest number, and we pass the three numbers, number 1, number 2, and number 3. If the number 1 is greater than number 2 and number 1 is greater than number 3, this means that the number 1 is the greatest number of these three numbers. And else if number 2 is greater than number 1 and number 2 is greater than number 3, this means that number 2 is the greatest number, and definitely number 3 is the greatest number. Okay, so I go to my main function and I'm going to call the function here. I type here greatest number, and here I type the num1, num2, and num3. Okay, so in this way I will call the function. I type just the name of the variables or values that I want to pass, and if I want to print the result, I simply type here system.out.println, and I type here the greatest number is, and I concatenate it with the statement like this. Okay, so now if I run this program and I enter the first number, I type here 78, I type here 1, I type here 100, and greatest number is 100. I run this program once again and type here 1, 50, 50, and 78, and 78 is the greatest number. I run this program once again and type here 100, then you can say the 5 and 9, and greatest number is 100. Okay, so there are some points that you have to keep in your mind. First of all, when you create a function, this thing here is the parameter, this is the parameter, and when you pass some information, then that is called the arguments. You are passing the arguments, and it is the parameters in the definition of the function. These are the parameters and this is the argument. When you pass some information, you say that you are passing the arguments in the function, and the parameter will receive that arguments and store them in these variables. So I hope that you understand that how function works and how we can use the parameterized function. So I hope you understand this video. If you feel any problem, then definitely you can ask me a question. I will help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in next video. Hello and welcome back to this course. In our previous videos, we have discussed about the functions. So I have created this video to solve a single problem in this program that will implement basically the functions, so that you have better understanding that how we can use the functions. You can also do the same thing without using the functions, but our main purpose is to focus on the functions, that how we can use the functions and how we can pass the values to the function or receive value from the function. So in this basically problem, we will definitely create some functions that will solve this problem. So let's see what is the problem. This is the problem which I have written in the comments. Write a Java method to check whether a string is a valid password. These are the password rules. The password must be at least 10 characters. Password consists of only letters and digits. A password must contain at least 2 digits. So we have to create a Java program that follow these rules. Basically, we have to create a separate method that follow these rules and validate the password that user enters. So without wasting our time, let's see how we can create our program. So first of all, in my main function, I am going to take input from the user, which is the password, and before taking input, I am going to print these rules on the screen so that user feel comfortable that what are the rules he has to follow while typing the password. So I simply type here system.out.println, and I type here the password rules that I have to follow. So I go to the new line like this and going to concatenate the rules here. So I just double quote here, just add a tab space like this. So I type here rules of password and /n. Okay, So now I'm going to concatenate the rules here. I copy the first one from here and paste it here, one dot like this, the new line, and add the concatenation, and the second rule of the password, which is this one, and at the last I add the third rule, which the user has to follow while writing the password. Okay, so now these are the rules that user has to follow while entering the password. So I also print a message here that enter the password like this, enter password. Okay, so I also add slash n here, so it goes to the new line. Okay, so I simply print the rules of the password first of all on the screen and the message that enter password. Okay, so now I have to take the input from the user by using the scanner class. So I simply type here scanner pass equals to new scanner and system.in. Okay, then I just import the scanner class in my Java program, and now I want to read the complete string from that user has entered from his keyboard. String password equals to pass dot next line, this one, because I want to read the complete string entered by the user. So I have taken the input from the user, which is the password basically, and now I am going to create the method that validates the password in my separate function. So let's create that function. So first of all, I have to specify the length of the password. You can see the password must be at least 10 characters. So first of all, I create a variable inside my class. I type here public static int length, and I add here 10. This is the minimum length that user have to enter while entering his password. So now I am going to create my method that password is valid or not. So I type here public static boolean. I create this method boolean because I have to return true or false. If the password is correct, then I return the true. If the password is false, then I return the false simply. And type the name of the function here. So I type here password is valid like this, and in the parameter I type here string password because I have to pass the password from my main function. So I get a parameter here. In this method, first of all, I am going to check the length of the password. So I type here if password dot length less than the length, which is this one 10, and if the length of the password is less than 10, then I simply return false here because this is the wrong password. And if the length is greater than 10, then simply move out. And now I'm going to create the two variables here, local variables. Basically, the variables created inside the methods are the local variables. So I am going to create two variables here with the name digit length and letter length. So I type here digit length, which is at start is 0, and letter length like this, which is also 0 at start. Okay, so I have just checked the length of the password, and if the password is greater than 10, then simply create two variables, digit length and letter length. Okay, so now I am going to start a for loop here outside this. I type here for int I equals to 0, I less than equals to password dot length, and I plus plus. And in this for loop, I am going to test each character of the password. I have to check each character of the password that each character is valid or not, because you know that the password must contain letters and digits, means alphabets and the numbers. So I create a character here. I type here chr, ch equals to password. I'm going to call the function which is char at, and I type here I. Means the password at ith index is copied to this ch variable. At first I is 0, so the first character is copied to the ch, and we then check that ch is valid or not. Now to check that the character is a number or the letter, I am just going to create the separate methods so that you have to better understanding that how we can use the methods. So for that I am going to create the separate methods that character is number or character is letter. So I just create the function outside the body of the our function. I type here public static boolean, and I'm going to type the name of the function. So I type here character is letter and pass that character here. I type here character ch, and now I am going to convert that letter into the uppercase. So I type here ch equals to character dot, I call the function to uppercase and pass ch in the parameter or argument, you can say. And now I am going to return ch greater than equals to basically a, and ch less than equals to z. We know that the basically letters are from a to z, and I return that if the character is between a to z, then this password is valid, that this is a letter basically. And for the numbers I'm going to create a separate method. I type here public static boolean, and this is the character is number, like this. And also I type here character ch, and in this method I am simply going to return the range. So I type here return the character is greater than equals to 0 and character is less than equals to 9. Means if the character is in the range of the 0 to 9, then this means that number is valid number. So okay, we have created the two methods, character is letter, character is number. And now I'm going to call these functions in my previous function, that is password is valid. So I type here if character is number, then simply increment in the digit length plus plus. So I type here digit length plus plus. Okay, so this is the character is number. Oh, so there is an error here. Okay, so I have to pass the parameter, basically type the argument here. So I type here ch that we have to pass this character. Okay, else I type here else if character is letter ch, then letter length plus plus. Okay, and at the end if the character is not a number, not a letter, then basically this is wrong password. So I type here in else that return false. Okay, and at the end of this program I am going to type here the return statement, return, and I'm going to return the digit length greater than equals to 2 and letter length greater than equals to 2. Okay, so we have now created the three methods: password is valid, character is letter, and character is number. And now in my main function I'm going to type the if here. So I type here if I'm going to call the function that is password is valid and pass the password in the argument. Okay, and if it is valid, then simply print system dot out dot println your password is strong. Okay, and else system dot out dot println your password is weak. Okay. Okay, so now if I run this program, you will see the rules of the password. A password must have at least 10 characters. A password consists of only letters and digits. A password must contain at least 2 digits. And enter password. So I enter here Java. You can see your password is weak. I run this program once again and type here Java and Java 2 times. So you can see password is weak. I run this program once again and going to type a strong password. So I type here Java 258 and press the enter. So okay, we got an error here. Exception in thread main java.lang string index out of bound. Exception. String index range 11 at java.lang.string.check character. Okay, so we problem add the check character here, the here add character I okay, so we have to remove equals from here because the index of the, we know that index start from 0 and goes to the length minus 1. We know that. So okay, now if I run this program and enter the password here, Java 3 times, you can see password is weak because we have 12 characters but we don't have our number in this password. I run this program once again and type here Java and enter number here 25 like this and I press enter. You will see password is strong. I run this program once again and type some random password here like this, and now if I press enter, you can see your password is strong. I hope you understand that how this program is working. Now I am going to explain the logic of the program. First of all, we have simply print the message on the screen, which are rules of the password. There are 3 rules basically of the password, and then we have displayed the message enter password. We have take input from the user by using the scanner class and store that password in this password. And now in the if, I call the function that password is valid. If the password is valid, then we get a true from there and we print your password is strong, else we print your password is weak. So we have a method password is valid. I go to that method here. Before that, I have created a static variable outside the function, that is the length. I specify the length of the password, which is 10. This is the minimum length, that the minimum length of the password is 10. So this is the variable int length 10. Now public static boolean, I have make this function boolean because I have to return true or false. If the password is valid, then I simply return true, and if the password is invalid, then I simply return false. And the name of the method is password is valid, and in the parameter I type string password, and this password is coming from the main method. After that, first of all, I validate the length of the password, that if the password dot length is the method that tells us about the length of that string. So we get dot length. If the length of that string is less than the 10, then we simply return false from here. And if the length of the password is greater than 10, then simply we create 2 local variables, digit length, which is at start 0, and letter length, which is also initialized by 0. And now I have started the for loop. I have used the for loop because I have to check each and every character of that password. So that's why I started a loop that starts from the 0 and goes to the password.length. And in the body of this loop, I have created a variable with the name ch, which is of a character type, and I have stored the password.character add method. This method gives us the character at that particular index. At first, the index is 0, so we will get the first character will be stored in this ch variable. After that, it increment the I by 1, so the character at index 1 will be stored in the ch. In this way, we can validate each and every character of our password. And now I have applied here if else. First of all, I check here if character is number. I have created this separate method, which is character is number and character is letter. You can see here public static boolean character is letter, and I type in the parameter I type character ch, which we pass from our method, and I first of all convert that character into the uppercase because if the user type the small letters, that small letters is drilled in the capital letters. But if you type, don't convert these each character into the uppercase, then if user enter the capital letter, you got an error on your screen. For example, I comment this line here and I type here the small characters like A, Z, and now if I run this program, I enter the password in capital letters like Java, 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 and 2 or 3 numbers. If I press enter, you see your password is V, because compiler is not considering these characters as the valid characters, because these are the capital letters. So that's why I convert these letters into the capital, and when you enter the small, that will be deal in the uh, capital letter also. So first of all, I just store the character dot to uppercase. I convert that character to the uppercase and store in the ch variable. Then I simply return that if the character is greater than A and less than Z, then this means that this character is valid letter. And in the number, character is number, I just return the character which is greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to 9, because we know that the numbers are between 0 to 9. So if the character is between 0 to 9, that this means that this number is valid. So I type here, if the character is number is valid, then simply increase the digit length. I have increment the variable of digit length by 1, and then else if character is letter is valid, then simply increment in the letter length. Else if the both of the characters are invalid, then simply return the false. And at the end, I have just typed this return statement. Return digit dot length. We know that the length of the digit must be at least 2. We know that this is the criteria for password. So I type here digit length must be greater than equal to 2 and letter length must be greater than equal to 2. If the both digit and the letters are greater than equal to 2, then this means that this is the valid password. And if it is valid, then this is going to return true, and here we will get a message your password is strong. Else we will get your password is weak. So in this way, this program is working. I hope you understand. Anyhow, if you feel any problem while understanding this problem, you can definitely ask me a question or message me. I will definitely help you in every situation. So the purpose of creating this program is to make you understand that how functions work. You can see we have created the 3 methods here, and we are passing the information from one method to another method. We have passed the password from the main method to the is password method, and from is password method to the character is letter, and we are returning the values from different functions. So this I hope you understand. So that's it for this video. I will see you in next video.